Courtney.
Hi, Courtney. Hello there. Okay, so we just got finished watching that video, that 3-minute video. So let's talk about that. I got a few questions for you guys. So after you guys finished writing that chart in, here are the 3 questions I want you to write down, or 3 statements. I guess they're not really questions. Number 1, Latin word for igneous is ignis, which means ... Igneous rock is formed when ... Melted rock is ... So you are filling in what comes next after those ... So the Latin word for igneous is ignis, which means what? Igneous rock is formed when blank, and then melted rock is what? So all of that is in your book.
It's all on one page.
I'm pretty sure it is all on one page.
Literally all. Yeah.
I'm trying to make it pretty easy for you. Yes, please answer them if you already know them. Oh, no, out loud? No, not quite. I'm going to give people a chance to answer them. All right, first one, Latin word for igneous is ignis, which means what? I'm going to pick someone who's quietly raising their hand. Grace? Fire, good. Number 2, igneous rock is formed when? Jacqueline?
Melted rock.
Yep, when melted rock cools, perfect. And then melted rock is what? Max? Lava. Yep, so fire, molten magma cools, and then magma, not lava, magma.
I wrote magma.
No, it's magma, not lava. All right, you guys good there?
No. Not good. I'm good.
Remember our notes, when are they due? End of the quarter. What is Mr. Doomer grading to make sure you have every single lesson? Completion, right? So if you're missing certain things, when I go through these, I go through each slide, make sure you have everything. If it's summarized, that's fine. But if you're missing whole slides, you're losing points for not completing it. Now, if you're not here, what should you do if you were not here? Bethy? Go on to Google Classroom. That is a good way of doing it. What's another way you could do it? Aiden? You could watch the video, yep. Watch this recording, like Courtney is totally doing. Blake?
You can ask someone to copy
Yeah, you can copy someone else's notes as well. That is fine. All 3 of those options are perfectly good options. Is a good option just turning in a chunk of notes that are incomplete or not even done? No, not okay. This is 40% of your grade. Notes are 40% of your grade. It is worth way more than all of your other homework assignments. I will tell you that now. It's worth about 10 times what a regular homework assignment is worth. So 100 points is what all the other assignments is worth. 10 times that amount would be 1,000 points. So that is what it is weighted. And it's also the easiest assignment. So if you do well on this, you're gonna get an easy 100%. That is another really good point. Okay. So nothing behind that. All right, igneous rock. Igneous rock. Yes. Let me see.
We already had igneous rock.
Actually, yes. Yep, that's fine. You don't have to write this one down. I forgot I did that. So igneous rock forms when magma cools. So yeah, you don't have to write this one down. I forgot I added this one in there. Igneous is from the Latin word meaning fire form. It is a rock type that forms from the solidification of molten mineral solution. Molten mineral solution. All right. So yes, you need to get this one down. You haven't written anything about this yet. All igneous rocks have a random fabric of fused mineral grains. So when you look up here, what I like to think of when I look at this is I think of different countertops, different countertops. When I look at this, a lot of different countertops, they have those little speckles. They have different speckles of minerals in them. Granite countertops, a lot of times you're going to see granite countertops. Those are a bunch of different minerals inside the countertop that makes up that surface. So all igneous rocks have random, completely random fabric. It's not actually fabric. That's just how they describe it. Right, the fabrication of it used to fuse the mineral grains.
We had a counter.
Yeah, I already said that twice, yes. Yep. This should be a very short one for you to write down. All igneous rocks have a random fabrication of fused mineral grains. What? This? Yeah, it's granite. That's granite. Yeah. Well, granite countertops are very common. They're not the most expensive type of countertop. They're still spendy, but they are very common. Yeah. Yep. I know. I'm trying to. I can feel them falling.
Don't want to go home. Still on the camera.
Get the little. Well, get the alfalfa thing in the back.
We got to put your glasses
Didn't
on.
alfalfa have it right in the middle though?
No, it was in the back. It was in the back. Yeah. All right. Igneous rocks. Intrusive versus extrusive. Move this out of the way.
We already did that one.
No, you didn't. Not all of this. So intrusive rocks form inside Earth. The part I want you to write down is this right here. So write for intrusive equals inside. Intrusive, inside. Intrusive, inside, right? Right? Extrusive, the exit, outside. That's all you need to get for this one. Extrusive is the exit, EX, EX, and intrusive is the inside. What is that referring to? The Earth. Intrusive rock is inside the Earth. Extrusive rock, outside of the Earth. So that is all you need for this one. Those are the key things that I want from this slide. We've pretty much written down all the rest on different slides. Intrusive, inside, extrusive, exit / outside. Okay. Yeah, there's only two things you had to write down on that one. Igneous rocks. There are two types of magma. There are two types of magma, felsic and mafic. So you need to write down all of this right here. This one you need to write down all of it. Felsic is lighter color. Yeah. So this right here is where it was talking about that scale, right? Felsic was the lighter color. Why? Because it has more silica. What does silica have a lot in it? It has a lot of silicon and oxygen. So that gives it its lighter color. And it is very viscous. Very viscous. What does viscous mean? Thick. Thinking of like blood. Blood is something you'll hear blood described as being very viscous because it's a thick liquid.
Kind of fast.
And then the other part is it is a slow, it's a slow process. It's a slow process. It is low in iron. Where is there a lot of iron? Iron is going to be more in the mafic, and then calcium and magnesium also more in the mafic category. So right here with felsic, that is those roots that I wrote there up on the board. So here's where you're going to write it for felsic. The FEL, that's feldspar. And then the SI, the SIC is standing for silica. So FEL, feldspar, SI, silica. And that's what makes up felsic rock.
It's molasses.
Yeah. Yep. Mafic, dark color. Mafic, dark color. So in that scale on the video, the darker rocks were mafic because they had not as much silica in them. So low amount of silica, it doesn't mean there's no silica at all. It just means that there's a lower percentage. That's one thing I liked about that video is it showed kind of a scale. It could be from anywhere from like 0 to 45%, and it would still be considered mafic. From 45 to 65% of it, if it had that much silica, then it would be intermediate. I don't want you to know that part. I just want you to know felsic versus mafic. And then if it had the higher amount, 65 to 100%, it's going to be considered the felsic.
Is there a word for not viscous?
Not viscous? No. No. No.
Thin?
Yeah, it'd be thin.
No.
So not viscous. So that would be another way of saying it, is saying that it's not viscous. It's going to be thin and watery. Something that is thin and watery would be, so besides, that's what I was just going to say, besides water, what else could you think of that would be, that's a liquid that's considered thin and watery? Something besides water. Johnny?
Soda.
Soda. Okay. Aries?
No.
Milk? Yeah, it's a little thicker.
But no, it's not. Even if you pour it out, it's still.
Okay, some types of milk are thinner, but most types of milk that I think of, they're going to be thicker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Max?
I like
Gatorade? Dylan? Mom's failed soup. So I mean, it depends on the soup. Chicken noodle soup, the actual
Dumpling.
stock, right? That's going to be liquid. Right, chicken broth. But there are some types of soup like chowder. Quiet, please, Ian. Chowder is going to be more thick. It's going to be more thick. It's going to be more like chili. Chili would be considered more of a thick type of liquid. Bethy?
apple cider.
Apple cider. Blake? Juice. Yep, that was yours, Kayla. Okay, so that's kind of the difference between something being viscous and non-viscous. Mafic is also going to be very high in iron. Does anyone remember what the elemental symbol is for iron? What is the elemental symbol for iron? Dylan? Fe, that is correct.
Right up there.
Well, two. So you got high in iron. So here in the Mafic, right? I think I also had it up there already, but whatever. So Mafic, the Ma stands for magnesium. Mg. Mg is magnesium. And then iron, the FiC is going to be iron. They say just F right here, but the FiC is what it means if it is, if it has iron in it. Okay, you guys good here?
No.
Not quite? Okay.
No.
We do a little bit more time. You only have to say it once. I can hear you first 4 times. Unlike you guys, I'm a better listener than you.
Hey. That hurts.
Stop the cap.
No, it's not all of you. Most of you are good listeners.
Am I?
No, you're the worst, Alan.
Yes.
No, I'm the worst.
Yes, Ian, you're the worst too.
Writing your least favorite.
Yeah, you're my least favorite.
Yeah, no, I was the least favorite.
You were all my least favorite. All of you are equally my least favorite.
No, I'm
I
your
didn't get
favorite.
picked in Jeopardy.
And I guess you're my least
I'm
favorite.
not picking Valley Boy.
Perfect.
Valley Boy.
I did. No, I did not.
What? Yep. All right, here we go. So comparing these right here. No, you don't have to write this down. This is examples for you. Do not need to write this down. You don't have to draw it. Okay, yes, you have to draw every little grain in here, every little dot and line, all of it. You need to use colored pencils. It needs to look immaculate. All right, which one is which? How do you know? So this one right here, felsic. Why? Because it is lighter in color, right? That's the main reason you can tell. This one right here, it's mafic because it is darker in color. Darker over here, light over here.
Landscape.
The green one looks like grass.
I thought I had more examples. Oh, well, I think I moved them somewhere else. That's fine. Igneous rocks. Igneous rocks. Yes, get this one written down. The texture refers to the crystal size. the texture, very important piece right there. So when you're talking about the texture of a certain rock or mineral, it is referring to the actual size of a crystal. If it's very rough and bumpy, that means the crystal size is going to be smaller because it is smaller crystals. If it is a lot bigger, sharper edges, it's going to have the opposite. So textures are divided into two main types. So you don't really need to write that point right there, just write down these two main points. So fine grain and coarse grain. Fine grain versus coarse grain for texture. Those are the two types of texture. Fine grain, crystals are too small to see, basalt, right? So when you're looking at it, it looks like it's just smooth, but really there's a bunch of little bumps all over the place, but it's just too hard to see. Yes, William?
Is there something after the R, or is it just?
Or no, there's not. There's not.
Okay.
For coarse grained, crystals are easily visible. You're able to actually see it. That's when it's going to be coarse, right? One of the examples I had on my desk here I wanted to use. Okay, let's do this guy. So this right here.
Is that the one I brought in?
Yeah, this guy right here, you can, when you're looking at it, you're able to see a bunch of bumps all over it. Would you consider this to be coarse grain or light grain?
Coarse.
For fine grain, sorry. Coarse, right? Because it's bumpy. If you feel it, it is, you can feel how rough it is. Whereas if I look at this guy, I look at these sides, I feel that, obviously it's going to be smooth. Now, is this how it came out? No, it was tough, right? But if I look at this side, the actual outside, right, it was polished. So if I look at this is going to be coarse grain because it feels rough. That's another good way of testing texture is if you just touch it, if it feels rough, it's going to have more of a coarse grain versus fine grain.
Do you think something like a geode, but like you feel the crystals inside, but the outside is like different?
Right.
Then
Yeah.
which one?
So geodes don't really apply for this classification right here. For this, it's only certain types of igneous rocks, and that's where you get into some of that gray area. That's where you get into some of that gray area.
If we watch more videos.
You can at home, sure. Okay. So there we go. That's where I put it. So right here, back to that same example. So which one is which? Well, this one is going to be, it has larger crystals that you can easily see. So it is going to be coarse grain. Over here, it looks like just gravel, right? It looks like it is going to be that fine grain because it doesn't have all the little crystal shapes and it's not as rough. It's harder to see there up on the board. It's a lot clearer for me right here. Yes, Brady?
Coins considered coarse.
Coins?
Like, well, they're not.
Are coins igneous rock?
Well, no, but there's a coin right there in the picture. It's just for scale.
Yeah, that's just scale size, yeah.
It looks like.
Okay, yes, get this one down. Igneous rocks, other types of textures. So Johnny, here's where you're getting into that question of what if it is not really coarse or fine grained? What if it has some pieces that are coarse, some that are fine, like a geode, right? That's where we kind of get into this other stuff right here. There are other ways to identify something, but the two main types are coarse grain versus fine grain. But there are other types. Those are the two main types of textures. The other textures, a glassy texture occurs when the rock freezes instantly. There are no crystals. Example, obsidian.
Yep.
Yep. So where'd that piece?
Where I cut myself 7 times with that rock just by picking it up.
Like this guy. This guy.
The blue heart in the line.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, you put it up in light, you can see the blue. This right here, obsidian.
Oh,
Very, very smooth, right?
I've never seen blue.
Yeah, I know. It's strange. Huh?
Pretty sweet,
The
right?
rarest when you do that is actually rainbow colored on
Yeah,
the inside.
I haven't seen that before.
It's only in Oregon too.
Is it
and
really?
it's really
Yeah.
rare.
I have a
That's cool.
Bro, isn't that
Really? That's cool.
I just don't know how it's that color on the inside.
Yeah, super cool. That's an example of what obsidian looks like. right when it freezes instantly, it's going to have that glassy texture. A porphyritic, maybe? A porphyritic texture is a rock with large crystals surrounded by fine-grained crystals. Rhyolite, that would be an example of that, is rhyolite. And then a vascular texture is a rock that has many holes. A rock that has many holes. Best one to think of is pumice. A lot of you have probably seen pumice before, like pumice stones. They are they are great because they are exfoliating. They are exfoliating. A lot of my wife uses pumice stones all the time. If you rub it like on the bottom of your feet, you can get off a lot of that excess dead skin. They use it at salons to get off dead skin off of your face, hands, all of that. So pumice is used all the time in that setting just because it's so rough and it has those holes to help get into the grooves. And it's not exactly, it's not too sharp where it's going to cut you. I actually use the pumice stones sometimes when because I go barefoot all the time outside and my feet end up getting rough looking. I use those pumice stones to help get my feet all cleaned off better, to get all that gross skin off. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep, because it's not really cleaning your skin. So don't take it like this, saying that pumice stone cleans your skin. It's getting rid of the dirty skin. It's getting rid of that old skin. It's pretty much going through certain layers of your skin. Is that bad? No, you have tons of layers of skin. Obviously, if you go too deep, then that gets bad, but it's getting rid of that outermost layer that's already pretty flaky, right? Caleb?
Actually, it's all along the shore. The thing is, it's very sharp. They call it razor rocks.
Oh, yes.
I fell on it before. It hurts so bad.
I'm sure that would hurt bad.
Holes and there's spikes all over.
Yeah, I'm sure that would hurt very bad. I can't imagine.
I got thrown onto
Right. That would not be fun. Not fun at all.
Imagine being skinned alive and rubbed up against sandpaper.
Oh.
I'm sure at a certain point you just wouldn't even feel that.
I'm getting speed. Yes. Steve, no matter how hot it gets, your nerves.
All right, we good? I see a lot of not writing anymore.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, I'll give you guys 30 more seconds.
Yes, more time to chill.
Why are we
Trey, we're not killing time. That's not cool.
Brady's like, what did I do? That's what did I do?
Oh, we're not killing time.
Brady's committing murder.
You are,
And then you just see that feeling too. You just see that clock.
He's off the street.
okay,
That's funny.
so let's go through each of our textures here. So a glassy texture, I will tell you what you need to write and what you don't need to write. So pay attention here. So glassy texture, volcanic glass and obsidian are some examples. So it may be felsic, but it is usually mafic. Even when felsic appears dark nonetheless, because the small percentage of mafic minerals in the rock form a homogeneous solution with the felsic minerals tinting the overall color. Notice the, I don't know what that bottom word is, fracture. I think it is conchoidal if I look at it. I gotta move this thing out of the way. Yeah, conchoidal. So what is a conchoidal structure? Does anyone know what that means? Conchoidal structure, that's actually referring to a math term referring to shapes. William?
Like a wavy inside.
Kinda actually, yeah. So what is a cone? A cone is like a, I have that up here. Yeah, so a cone, think of an ice cream cone, right? It has that smooth area. It has a point at one end and kind of a circular end. That's what is happening here with the obsidian. How do you know if something is obsidian? It's going to have that glassy looking texture and it has those smooth parts as well. It can be very, very sharp. What do you need to write on this? Nothing.
You know, like people use this as like a dart or arrows.
Yeah, it's arrow.
Yes, yes, I didn't know that.
Aztecs did. The Aztecs did. Aztecs. Woo!
Okay, you need to write down all of this for this one. You need to write down all of this. So for this guy, the example was rhyolite. So that's going to be light colored. If it's light colored, does it have a lot of silicon or silica or not a lot of silica? Not a lot. Not a lot of silica if it is light colored. So light colored, felsic, fine grain, meaning volcanic, and then igneous rock. That is how you would determine if it is this I cannot say this one, porphyritic texture. I don't know why that one's throwing me off. Light colored, felsic, fine grain, volcanic, igneous rock. Am I going to be testing you on being able to identify different rocks? No. What I want you to know is what it means. So if it's light colored, I want you to know that means it's felsic. If it is that fine grain, I want you to know that is volcanic. So those are, I'm not testing you to be able to identify rocks. I'm not turning you guys into geologists, right?
Mineralogy.
Or mineralogists. I'm not turning you into either of those. I just want you to know how to do it. Okay.
I'm not done yet.
That's okay.
No!
Pumice. So some more of the vesicular texture here. Some more of the vesicular texture. So the pumice, get both of these down. The pumice, this is what it looks like. That's actually very similar to what a pumice stone looks like. Pretty much to make a pumice stone, you're cutting it into a rectangular shape, a circular shape, whatever. So you can use it for your whatever use you're using it for.
They use pumice.
Yeah, it's very easy. It's very it's not really brittle. It breaks easily with any type of knife. Be careful if you ever try to cut pumice because it's still pretty hard. So pumice is fine grained. It's felsic. It's a vesicular volcanic igneous rock. Scoria. So this is going to be fine grained. Fine grain. It is going to be mafic, and it is vesicular volcanic igneous rock. So what is the difference between these two different types of textures? The felsic versus mafic right there. So one of them is light colored, one of them is dark colored. Other than that, they are very similar. They both have the fine grain, right? They both have that fine grain texture, and they both have that vesicular igneous rock texture as well. Yes, William?
In my house, we call that lava rock.
Yep, a lot of people call it lava rock.
And then like
yeah, oh yeah, there's depending on the type, there could be more than thousands. Yeah, yes.
So you know what craters is?
What it's made of?
No, craters.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know that.
Oh, it's in Idaho.
Okay.
And it's where it's like
Right. Yep.
But the earth like shifted, and lava shot out everywhere, hardened over time. And when you go there, they have like this shop and there's just rocks and it's that.
It looks just like that. The darker one or the lighter one?
Scoria.
Scoria.
We got this rock that was really hard to and it literally looks like spiderweb.
Yeah.
But it's a rock.
Yep.
It's like and it's a rock.
Yep.
I can bring one. Like, I'm gonna put a plant in it, and I'm like,
That's
you're
funny.
gonna put a plant in that?
That's funny. Okay, let me see where we're at. 11:45. I think we could go through a little bit more. Yeah, we're gonna go through a little bit more. Okay, we're gonna go through a little bit more. So igneous rocks. We're gonna keep on going, keep chugging along. Okay, we have quite a few more slides. So rocks can be grouped into families. Rocks can be grouped into families. So we have the granite family, we have the gabbro family, and we have the diorite family. So rocks can be grouped into these three different families. So what is included? For the granite family, it's felsic, meaning what? What's felsic? And remind me what felsic is, Johnny?
It has a lot of silver, so it's like
Right? It has a lot of silica in it, and it's going to be light colored, right? So it's light, contains quartz, feldspar, and muscovite. You don't need to write down these examples down here at the bottom. Just write down what traits it has to be in the granite family. For the gabbro family, it has to be mafic. Mafic meaning it's going to be darker in color because it does not have a lot of silica in it. Dark, contains feldspar, olivine, and biotite. Do not need to write down the part in the parentheses.
what is gabbro?
What is gabbro? I don't know off the top of my head. I am not a mineral expert or a rock expert. Diorite family, intermediate composition and color. Intermediate composition and color. What is the intermediate composition? Does anyone remember? What does it mean if it is in the intermediate region, Max?
It's like 45.
So silica. Yep. So it's about right in between. It's right in between mafic and felsic, meaning it has about 50%-ish silica. So it has a little bit of both. That is the diorite family. So granite family, pretty much what you need to know is that it has a lot of felsic, gabbro family, mafic, diorite, intermediate. If you know that, you're going to be good. So I would underline that part right there. Granite, felsic, gabbro, mafic, and diorite, intermediate. If you know those parts, you're going to be just fine. Be just fine. Questions there? Ready?
What would be if you combine every single rock family?
If you combined every rock in the
Every
one,
kind of rock family. It would equal patches rock.
so you would have different types of rocks just connected,
Like
all
basically all mixed.
connected to each other.
If you were to, like,
You're not going to find that.
what would it be like?
Yeah,
What would it be considered?
You're not going to be able to find that.
It'd be gabbro.
It would be the crux.
Yeah, so if it was felsic and mafic, that would mean it has a lot of silica and not a lot of silica. Is that possible? No. If it does have silica and not a lot, then it's going to be closer to the diorite because it's going to be somewhere in the middle. Is there any way for it to have all three? No, there's not. You either have, so Brady, you either have,
You have the gabbro family and I mean, like, felsic, light, baseboard, like, all these certain spots that are all those, except, and then just go to this randomized, like, so that.
I don't know, Brady, you're blowing my mind. Okay,
We don't know.
I can't explain anymore. All I can say is no. Yeah, I can't give you more than that, Brady. I'm not a super genius. Some questions are just no. Okay, so let's try some examples. You do not need to write this part down. I'm going to show you some images and you're going to tell me, is it felsic or mafic, fine grained or coarse grained, and then intrusive or extrusive? Okay, first one. Oh no, I forgot I put that there.
Yeah, okay, it's a happy one.
Hold the phone, I forgot I didn't.
You pulled the plug.
I forgot I did that. So we're gonna have my big face right
Make your face like corn.
there. I forgot to cover that with a slide. There's supposed to be a transition there.
It's like a rectangle now. Oh, here's a rectangle.
Big face. All right. We have basalt. For those of you who saw the answer, go for it. What is this one?
Mapping, felsic, and extrusive.
Yep. So it is dark in color. Dark in color, meaning it is mafic, mafic. I'm okay either way. It has what kind of grain? Is it coarse or fine? Is this coarse or fine, Johnny? It looks more like fine grain. Yep. You just can't really see the crystals. Yeah, it has tiny little bumps, so it could have some other stuff put in, but it doesn't really look like it has big crystals. Good. Next one. Diorite. Diorite. This is what it looks like. We kind of went over this one a little bit already. So So who wants to go through this one all with me? Dylan, go for it. Okay, go, give me one. Wow, good job.
Oh, how
Wow,
do you do that? How
crazy.
do you do that? You're so smart.
Max,
Me?
yeah, you had your hand up.
Oh, well, is it a Celtic or is it intermediate?
That's what I'm trying to ask right now.
Oh, it's intermediate.
Think it's intermediate, Aries?
Or Celtic.
I think it's gotta be some,
Because I see the,
it looks intermediate and also it's like crystal, so it's coarse and it's intrusive.
Intrusive? All right.
it is 1,000,000%
Let's see if we are correct here.
intermediate composition and color.
Minimize, minimize. So light color. So overall, light color, yes, it has some sporadic black marks in there as well. So light color, meaning it's felsic. Coarse grain, how do you know it's coarse grain? It has those crystal structures, right? So that's gonna mean it has coarse grain because of large crystals. And then it's intrusive because the large crystals that are formed under the ground. Okay, make my face big again here.
Yeah, but try it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, today is your day, huh?
No, we're gonna go all the way to no.
Wait, who are you playing? Are you gonna win?
Okay, we can kind of see it already.
You better win,
We
son.
have this one, Gabbro. We have Gabbro. Caleb, what is this one?
It's really pretty.
Okay. You're not my favorite student anymore. Kayla,
The whole class.
intrusive, okay. Brady,
I was gonna say it's really beautiful, but also I mean, you know,
Okay, give me an
I
answer.
think it's I totally forgot it.
so we're saying intrusive so far. What else?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Juliana.
Oh yeah.
What? Mathic,
Yep, it's in our notes, Gabbro.
and what else, Johnny?
It has a course string.
Coarse grain. There we go.
Contains feldspar, olive oil,
Yep.
biotite.
Dark color, so it's darker in color, meaning it's mathic. It is coarse grain, got those large crystal sizes in it. You can see all the hills, I call them hills and valleys. And then intrusive, large crystals formed underground. So you're able to say it's intrusive from these two pieces of information.
Noise.
Noise.
All right,
Noise.
let's go picture.
Noise.
All right,
Yeah, you got two.
so as we can all see, it is light color. If it's light color, that means it's felsic. And then what type of texture is it? What type of texture do we have here, Aries?
I'm gonna say, oh, I see large crystals there, so I think it's gonna be cool.
Yep, it is going to be coarse. Move my face.
That's fine.
Can you make your face a rectangle?
Ooh, interesting. So fine grain. Why is it fine grain? Well, all these bigger holes there, those are not part of the fine grain portion. We're talking about the overall texture, which makes it fine grain. Light color, it's gonna be extrusive because of the small crystals, All right. I don't think I have any more examples. Oh, I guess I did. Scoria, dark color, right? Dark color, meaning it's mathic, fine grain, small crystals, extrusive, small crystals formed above.
We have our little
Ground.
graph chart.
I know. Yeah. That's why I had you write down that chart.
The white one.
Okay, this is what we are going to work on tomorrow. I have a video for you guys tomorrow, so make sure for science tomorrow, you bring your lab book. We're gonna work on this as a class tomorrow. Yep. We will work on this. Actually, yeah, we'll work on this as in groups tomorrow, and I will show the video to start class. So we have finished, if I remember correctly.
Wait, remember safety first.
All right, so we have finished this lesson. So what do you do at the end? Summary. So we have finished the lesson. write a 3 to 4 sentence summary at the end of this lesson. 3 to 4 sentence summary.
First. For the grain part, I just think it's like.
You know, back
if
then
it's
they had
rough
to
and
hand
it's
test
coarse, if
routes.
it's smooth, then it's fine.
Yep.
Work.
Same, dude.
That's not class.
Is it
Fixing
still
your hair.
recording? Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Don't forget to like and